Hey everyone, it's Shelby here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to what I imagine will be probably a pretty interesting video today. I got my tea because we're gonna be spilling some tea today. I decided I would make a video just kind of discussing books slash authors that I honestly just have no interest in reading, probably never will. Many of these authors are problematic and they are on my do not read list. So I thought I would share with you all because I've had some questions about, certain things, or I've had people just commenting, not just here on YouTube, but also on my other social medias, more specifically like TikTok and Instagram, just kind of commenting about why I didn't include certain authors in some of my like anticipated releases. And I just wanted to kind of be transparent about that I just have no interest in supporting these authors. Now, I would encourage you all to not take this as an educational piece. This is based on what I have found doing my own research, and there are plenty other YouTube videos, there's plenty other TikTok videos, things of other people that have been able to go be more thorough with their explanations on all of these different authors, especially the ones that are highly problematic and why. And also, I don't want you to think, I believe in free will and that everybody has a choice. So if there are some authors on here that you absolutely love and you don't give a crap about what I say, don't want to do your own research about these authors, you're going to still read them anyway, you do you. I am not here to tell you what you can and cannot do. I'm just saying these are people that I just don't really care for at least for the most part. And especially all of these problematic authors, I have a voice, right? I have a platform on all of these different social media pages. I have a following. I am counting, I'm sure several of you like to use my reviews and my recommendations to read books. And I just do not feel comfortable promoting people that I do not inherently with my beliefs agree with. I do not feel comfortable promoting people that have caused harm to certain communities. I would like to use my platform as a place to, especially my privilege as a white person, and my platform as a place to help promote people of marginalized communities and help promote more marginalized authors or indie authors. That is what I hope to gain and to do with my platform. So, authors that have had racist things in their books that have caused harm to communities, I completely lose interest in their books and them as a person. That's just, to me, that is just very wrong. So in this video, we're going to be getting into a lot of my my specific beliefs. You do not have to agree with my beliefs. You are entitled to your own opinions. I also, before I get into all these authors, I also want to caveat and say that please do not take this as a go ahead for a witch hunt on all of these people. All of these people are human. It is not okay to cause harm back, if that makes sense, to, bully them. There was a ton of stuff going around with the whole Charlie Kirk death, where authors were being put on lists if they said anything not in like grief over his death. And there was people like with videos like burning books. So we are not going to be going on witch hunts on any of these authors. We're not going to be burning their books. I think a lot of you need to be reading Fahrenheit 451. Yeah, that's not okay. If there is like an author that I don't really care for, if I have them on my shelves, I personally have resold them, or I've used them in like their books in like crafting kind of stuff, uh, where I'm making different things out of like book pages. That's what I've done. Or I've taken them to like little free libraries. I don't want them on my shelves. I don't want them to be in any of my videos or pictures that I'm taking. I don't want them here anymore. I am choosing not to support authors that I feel like don't deserve my support, if that makes sense. Oh, one last thing before we get into all these authors. Another thing I want to say before we get started is that I do believe in second chances. I believe that should any of these authors make steps towards making real change within themselves and with their books, especially like some of these authors that have put a like racist things in their books, maybe not really realizing how harmful those stereotypes are in those books. If they take the time to actually educate themselves and work towards mitigating the harm that they caused and properly apologizing, then I might consider trying them again. However, most of these authors, since they've done the harm, and most of these authors that I've seen, especially in regards to racism, have not done a proper apology, or they've said like, it's not me, you can't blame me because blah blah blah, blah. Just they haven't done a proper apology. So most of these authors I have completely unfollowed or blocked. So for me to know if these authors have grown and changed their ways, that would be a little bit harder for me to do. So I'm always learning new things and adding authors to the list and potentially taking authors off of this list. So if you have any news on any of these authors that maybe they're not as problematic anymore, let me know and I will try to do some more research on them. So anyway, I am honestly not the most organized with my list here. I'm going to try to organize it as best as I can. We're starting off with, I think, the only person that is not actually problematic as far as I can tell. And this author is just, it's just a me thing that I don't really like her books. That's going to be Meghan Quinn. And I know this one is a really big, it's probably a big shocker and maybe controversial that I don't want to read her books because everybody seems to love her books. I have read several of her books. I read one whole series from her that had 4 books. And I think I've read a couple like sports romance from her. I've read one of her Christmas, like holiday romances. I want to say I've read at least 8 books from her. So I have really tried, guys, tried to like her books. The vast majority of them I have not liked. I think I've maybe liked 1 or 2 of them. And it just becomes this thing where I'm tired of being disappointed in the books that she's written. So she has a new holiday romance that has, I believe, already come out. I have no interest in reading it. I read the first holiday romance because I was like, oh, I'm going to try it out. And I didn't like it. She most of the time has female main characters that I absolutely hate. I find them to be insufferable, and I just don't really like her writing style. She uses plot points in her books that I just feel like are cop-outs. I have issues with many of her books. They're very funny. I will give her that. So if you like rom-coms, like I understand why people like her books. They're just not for me. And I really do not care to read anything else from her. I'm trying to think where to go to next with these problematic authors and like why they're problematic. I might go to talking about then Alchemized, and along with that J.K. Rowling. I have no intention of reading Alchemized, and along with that, like any type of Harry Potter coded books, I'm just not, because even though they don't directly support Harry Potter and J.K. Rowling, I have no interest in doing anything associated with Harry Potter because of how problematic J.K. Rowling is and how harmful she is to the trans community. And I'm not okay with that. And this is coming from somebody that grew up on Harry Potter. I have probably read the Harry Potter series 20 times. I loved that series growing up. So I just want to put that out there too, because I get a lot of comments, or I've had comments said to me in the past of, oh, but they're just so nostalgic for me. I can't give them up because of the nostalgia. They meant so much to me as a child. You're a grown ass person now. And I just think, why are you still supporting something or somebody that does not support you and your beliefs?
Hi, sorry. I need to pop in real quick. This is editing Shelby. I do want to caveat by saying if you still keep some of these books on your shelves and you don't want to get rid of them, like you've already given your money to these authors. Like it's already done. You can't go back in the past, right? To change giving these authors your money. So like I still have some of my Harry Potter books on my shelves. They're just not in my book room. They're in another room. They will never be on film. I get if you can't not wanting to get rid of like certain books because of that nostalgia. Or I've had a friend say to me that she would rather, if she wants to try out some of these problematic authors for herself and just kind of see what she thinks about them, she would rather, she might go to like a used bookstore to purchase them, or like any Harry Potter stuff, she's gone to like a huge used bookstore to purchase them. So that way her money is not actually going towards these problematic authors. And I'm just saying I don't want them to be present on my shelves, and especially for anybody that is like me, that has a platform, having them on your shelves, displayed on your shelves, I think is a problem, because it's sending a message that you don't care about these communities that these authors have caused harm to. So I just wanted to say that real quick.
This J.K. Rowling, and as a subset, Alchemized. Reasons why Alchemized is controversial right now, because it is a fanfic of Harry Potter. Even if, like I said, it doesn't directly support J.K. Rowling, it does continue to bring up topics of Harry Potter, and people in the trans community have stated how harmful this book is to their community. So that's another thing too. If a person in any of these communities have said, hey, this is harmful to me and my community, I'm listening to that. And I think you all should too, just to better learn. Because that being said, if any of these authors have an apology, it is not an apology to me. It should not be an apology to me, because I was not directly harmed by this author and their works. It should be an apology to that community, and they should be the ones to decide if this apology is good enough, if it is a true apology. I can already tell I'm getting kind of rambly in this video, so many avenues to discuss and things that I have to say about these things. But what was I talking about? Oh, yes, I have no problem cutting out these books, even if I did have such a connection to these stories. I have no problem cutting them out of my life. Same with, people in my life, friends, family members. If they are not actually like helping to fill my cup up and supporting me and my beliefs, then there's no reason to support them either. So let's see here. Colleen Hoover, no interest in reading any of her books. There's quite a bit of controversy with her books. More so, like, my biggest issue with her that I'm aware of, I've heard of like rumors of other things going on with her, like book convention, which is now ceased. It is no longer a thing. I've heard different things about that. But the only things that I know for sure, like me personally, I do not like, is I hate how her books are marketed. And I don't know if that's from her specifically or if that's from her publisher, but her books are marketed as romance. They fall in the romance sections at bookstores. Her books are not romance. I would say they're more literary lit fiction or like women's fiction. And if they do have romances in them, they romanticize toxic relationships and SA. So I'm not okay with that. I've heard of some things with like her family, that some of the stuff with her family, I don't know the actual like validity towards. So those are kind of like why I don't really care for her. And I've never really been interested in trying out any of her books. I really hate how much they're promoted and how much shelf space they get. Do not care for that. A couple authors that are known for have bullied readers and or other authors. Piper CJ. I actually have bought one of her books, and then after I bought it, I looked at things about her and immediately took it back. Not only like bullying her readers, like going into their reviews on Goodreads and bullying them for their bad reviews. Not okay with that. Also, LJ Shin has done a lot of bullying to other authors, readers, etc. There's also some controversy with some of her books about not properly putting trigger warnings in them and refusing to put trigger warnings. She's been accused of plagiarism, things about, I saw something about one of her covers, like she's used white models and then like manipulated the images to make them look darker for a like Black or BIPOC character. I also saw that she's a Zionist, so we'll get into that a little bit more as well. I do not agree with Zionism. I do not agree with the state of Israel. I am very much a pro-Palestine person, especially after watching people be brutally murdered in the genocide that is concurrently ongoing, even though there is a quote-unquote ceasefire that is not happening. Yeah, so don't support that. Jessa Hastings is another author that has been accused of bullying. This one I really don't agree with and don't really want to read any of her books. She's been known to use AI, not just in her covers, but has said that she has used AI to help her write her books. I'm not okay with that. I am very anti-AI, especially in artistic spaces. I'm against AI in general. I don't like how much people are using AI, especially with like ChatGPT. I've read some studies where it is basically like making us dumber. So I'm not okay with that. But especially in artistic spaces, using AI instead of actually paying an artist to make your covers or actually using your brain to create and write. No, I don't want to support that at all. So, other authors that have used AI for their covers, I'm going to name a couple. I know there's several more out there. Layla Faye and Cassie Alexander are two authors. Now, Cassie Alexander is an author that I've read several of her books. I've met her in person. She's the sweetest human, but I can't support her because she has used AI in several of her covers. And I used to be on her ARC team, and I used to be get her newsletters. And she said in some of her newsletters, and granted, this is probably a year ago because I stopped subscribing to her newsletters and I don't want any of her arcs anymore. She said something about she was so excited about being able to use, there's some sort of AI software for audiobooks. And I don't know if that was something that Amazon had or something along those lines. And she was so excited because she was like, this will make things so much cheaper for me to be able to get audiobooks to you all. And I was like, no, that left such a awful feeling, in my stomach that she was doing that. And that's what I've heard from several authors that have utilized AI in their covers is that just because it's cheaper and it's easier for them to make a book cover if they use AI. I'm just like, how hard is it to get Procreate and watch some YouTube videos about how to utilize Procreate and make your own cover? So, okay. I already started to talk a little bit about me being pro-Palestine, anti-Israel, some other authors that, and again, I know there's a lot more than this. I'll have to do a little bit more research on who those authors are. Big one, Callie Hart. I know she's really big right now, so I specifically did not put Callie Hart's newest book on my last anticipated releases video because she has been known to support Israel. Same with Sarah J. Maas. So I believe her grandmother is from Israel, if I believe, and has posted things about how she thinks it would just be so wonderful if she could go like make the journey to Israel to honor her grandmother. So she is absolutely a Zionist, and I do not support her. There's also some things like some racist things that she has done that I don't think okay. The biggest thing is that she used the death of Breonna Taylor, who is a Black woman. I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, she was killed by a police officer. Anyway, she used this woman's death to promote herself and her book. Like, that's not okay. That is not okay. And this is another author, kind of like with J.K. Rowling. This is an author that I have loved. This is from somebody that I have a couple tattoos based off of her books and her writing that I'm hoping at some point, if I have enough money, that I will be able to cover up, because I'm just not okay with her, and I will not be reading anymore from her. There are plenty other authors, plenty other fish in the sea, authors that write amazing fantasy romance series that I would rather read and discover and promote instead. Sarah J. Maas is not the end all be all that people think she is. Then we get into some like racist sort of. So first we're going to start with Lillian Harris. Yes, Lillian Harris. She came out fairly recently. It was around a time of one book convention, and she got kicked out of coming to these book conventions because of her Islamophobia, her talking smack about Muslims. And that's not okay. People are allowed to believe whatever they believe. That's not okay. And that's another author that I have read one book from her, and I wanted to read more from her because I really enjoyed that book, but she's out. And then just a bunch of authors that have had stereotypical racist things in their books, and I'm just not going to. Julia Quinn has stated that she will not write about Black authors because she wants her characters to have happy endings. Also, I read the entire Bridgerton series. This has been a long time ago. This has been like the very beginning of my YouTube career. And I really didn't like them. I had so many problems with her books. There was like one that I really liked. All the other ones were just, they're not good. They're not good historical romances. There's so many other authors that write better historical romances that don't have as many problems in them. So no. Other ones, Kate Stewart. I will never, ever read another book from this author. Not only has she had racist things, racist stereotypes in her books, has not done very great apologies about those. Plus, I hated the Ravenhood series. If you go to my Goodreads and like see my review for I think it was book 2 because I had to stop after book 2. I like rage finished that book. I hated it so much. One of the worst books I have ever read. I can't. Jessie Hall has also had harmful stereotypes about Black people in her books. Sophie Lark, this is a somewhat more recent development where there's some controversy about like a new book that she had that ARC readers got this book and said to her about the problematic things that she had in the book about Latinx community. She's also had some racist things about one of her books had a Black female main character, and it said something along the lines of, it's been a while since I've read this book, so forgive me. It said something about she wanted to be like a slave for him, or like she felt like a slave because of her love. I don't remember the specifics with it, but no. Tillie Cole basically started my journey of me trying to educate myself and realizing some of the racist thoughts that I've had, and the preconceived notions that I've had just like growing up in this white supremacist society, because there's all the controversy with Tillie Cole and her motorcycle books that are no longer available anymore. And I remember when that happened because I was in the boat of trying to defend Tillie Cole, and then that it just sparked this moment in me of like, it made me uncomfortable because I loved those books so much. And it helped me to kind of do some self-reflection and examining myself and my beliefs and why I felt this uncomfortableness and why I didn't agree with all of these Black women who were saying how harmful this was. So honestly, I'm kind of, in a sense, happy that that happened. Not, I don't know. I guess happy is not necessarily the right word, but I'm grateful for it helping to me to, like I said, educate myself and make a change with what I was reading. And it helped me to think a little bit more critically with the books that I'm reading and to help me do all this, like do more research about the authors that I've been reading. I'm sure there's going to be plenty more. I don't always research the authors that I read. I try to, but I'm human. I make mistakes. So I just try to have my ears open and listen and do what I can. Laura Thalassa is another one that I have loved, but she has had some racist things in her books, so I don't want to support that. Again, also another one, Mariana Zapata is another author that I have loved. This one, she has had very harmful stereotypes against Filipinos and the Philippine culture. So again, I have seen videos of Filipinos or Pinas. I think it would be Filipino, right? Anyway, I have seen videos of people in that community saying that these things that she has put in her books is harmful to them. So I'm gonna listen, and it does not hurt me to no longer support them. If you know of any other authors, or like I said, if there's some like updates that I'm not aware of, let me know. Also, again, don't take my word as law, basically. Go do your own research on all of these. You are grown-ass people. You can make your own decisions on what you would like to do if you want to continue supporting these people. I would not recommend it, but you do you, you know? But I hope this was enlightening. And I promise my next videos are going to be a lot more lighthearted than this. I'll have some recommendation videos coming up, and I should have an unboxing video coming up. I got notifications that I've got some books coming in the mail, so that'll also be a fun more video. We'll get back to more of my regularly scheduled programming. So anyway, that's going to be it, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye, guys.